The Mexican people were underrepresented there last night.
I feel it. I can see that.
I can see that too, man. But
Do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth?
I don't understand.
Of course you don't understand. It's because you don't want to understand. OMG, you guys. Now the essays down in LA is feeling some type of way because they felt like they were not included in Kendrick and Friends show on Juneteenth, which had nothing to do with them. But it's the sense of entitlement that these people have. And we're going to have to discuss why this is not a good thing for the community. Is y'all ready to talk about it? Let's juice.
Come on, Blazer.
It's a beat for me.
Wow, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we are.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo Doll TV, back with a quick little jokes or whatever the case may be. And when I tell you this Kendrick and Friends concert has the girls' panties in a bunch, and this is a problematic issue that we, as the so-called Black American culture, need to discuss amongst ourselves. This right here is not a conversation for the diaspora. It's not a conversation for the foreigners. This is a conversation that strictly need to be had in the so-called Black American, foundational Black American, acorn, whatever y'all going by today's time. This is a conversation that need to be had, okay? Now, before, when I first saw it, I was about to jump out the window. I ain't gonna lie. I was about to go crazy. Then I had to calm myself down and I had to give myself these 15 seconds before I do something crazy like this.
Take the pictures. Take the pictures. Take the pictures. Take the pictures.
Child on schoolyard. Do you hear me? But let's get into it because this is why they all mad. Let's get into why we are here. So Kendrick Lamar has been taking the internet, the music industry, and everywhere by storm because he has had his beef with Drake. Everybody has seen it. Everybody is going crazy behind it. He is the reigning king of hip hop as of today. I want to say we haven't had a king of hip hop like this since Tupac left. I'm not going to hold you, but nevertheless, here we are. Kendrick Lamar had his beef with Drake. They had their disses going back and forth. Everybody was freaking out. It was all over the internet. We were all intrigued. We were all happy. And he was able to point out the fact that Drake was a foreigner and indeed a colonizer. So in one of the lyrics during this rap battle, diss battle, or whatever you want to call it, Drake made the comment that Kendrick raps as if he freed the slaves. Now, Kendrick doubled back on They Not Like Us and explained the whole settlers and township and how the foreigners and everybody from the outside used to come in and capitalize off of the actual indigenous aboriginal copper colored people, as we call today Black people. And basically, he kind of exposed that Drake is literally like just eating off everybody, just like taking everybody's style and ... Well, long story short, during this event, he decided, Kendrick that is, to go ahead and unite all of LA, all of the gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, the Schoolyard, and all of the gang members. And this photo right here has the internet in a chokehold. Now, for the first time, Black Americans have literally prioritized themselves. As you can see in these photos, there are no one on this stage that are not of the culture. And when I say the culture, I don't mean music. I mean as far as Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, as I call us, acorn, indigenous copper colored people, all of us. This is our time to shine, right? We've never been able to have a moment to ourselves just like this because even on the East and West Coast, it's always a mixture, a melting pot. And you guys know how I feel about the melting pot.
This is Sparta!
And let me explain why I feel like that. Not because it's bad to cohabitate with other people, but simply because my people begin to lose their identities and their cultures, all because everything gets mixed up. Everybody starts to feel like we're all the same, when the fact of the matter is, when it's time to separate, everyone else has an identity except my so-called Black American brethren. So me being from the South, Me being from New Orleans, where I grew up, we had black people, we had Vietnamese people, we went to school together, but we did not mix. I don't understand it, and I understand why it's best that we don't mix as much, is because at least we know who we are, they know who they are, and no one's identities get lost. So anyway, like I was saying, Kendrick Lamar united all of these people, and then here come the essays. Lord, it was a time. Now, I am not oblivious to the fact that LA has a mixture and a multitude of cultures and identities and races and everything all mixed up in one. I'm not ignorant to the fact that the same is on the East Coast over in New York and other places of that nature. But my only issue is we have been so inviting to our culture that now it is starting to bite us in the behind. And it's simply because we invite all cultures to our identities, all cultures to our culture, all races, all mixing everything of people, and we don't get that in return. Why is this important? These three young men sat down and had a podcast about Kendrick Lamar's Kendrick and Friends thing, and they really had an issue with the fact that there was no Mexican representation on the stage for those photos. Let me say this. First of all, I didn't even know Mexicans rap, and I'm not being funny. Secondly, hip hop, although it is not owned by us because we sold it off all for $1, it belongs to us as the culture. And when Kendrick speaks in the sense of the culture, he's not speaking of everybody. See, that went over a lot of people's head, just like the song They Not Like Us. I see everybody singing it and everybody dancing to it, and I realize a lot of those people that are singing are the theys that you're talking about. But neither here nor there. So this guy went on this podcast and he has something to say about the Mexican people not being included. Y'all take a listen. This is ridiculous.
The Mexican people were underrepresented there last night.
I feel it. I can see that.
I can see that too, man. But
And a lot of people are telling me that I sound like bitter or something. Like, I'm not a rapper, fool. I'm not tripping about not being on stage. I'm saying, like, Jeezy performed, I think, last night.
Yeah.
did he?
That would have been nice if he would have been on
Oh,
stage.
if he would have.
Now, maybe the young legend had something to do, so
Right.
he dipped.
Right. Because all the artists that did perform were up there.
Facts.
I respect it. Who was up there? I can't keep count.
There was a lot of people that went, but I think Jeezy was the only
person that didn't pop out? Or were you gonna say he's the only Mexican that performed?
both.
Did he perform? Was he supposed to perform?
He did perform, yeah.
Oh, he did?
Mhm.
And I didn't see him perform because I caught it late.
I saw
but
the clip.
I saw
I didn't even see that
a
clip. What the
picture
fuck?
of someone posting that he performed.
Do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth?
I don't understand. I thought Juneteenth was like on the 16th or something like that. It's on June 19th.
It was Juneteenth yesterday.
Yeah, it was Juneteenth. Facts.
I respect it.
Do you think that has something to do with it?
Had something to do with what? The fact that they threw the show that day? Or that there was no Mexicans on stage?
There you go. Do you think it was supposed to be like...
First of all, let me start off by saying congratulations to Kendrick Lamar and all of the wonderful individuals that performed last night.
Yeah, shut him up.
So, I'm not trying to go racial with it, but I will say,
we're just picking each other brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth, and I believe that's in remembrance of the massacre. I don't want to be wrong, but is it in Tulsa or in Selma
I don't even know.
or a place over there? I could be wrong, and I hate to be wrong, but I know it's in remembrance of a massacre that took place, right? I'd like to say that the Mexican people have been persecuted in this wonderful land for a long time.
Okay, so you heard this guy, and there's so much to unpack here. First of all, I would like to say this. The entitlement is just too loud for me. Like, oh, there wasn't any Mexican representation on that stage. Why should there be? I mean, to be completely honest, I've never heard of this dude, Jeezy, Cheesy, or whatever his name is, who's supposed to be the Mexican rapper. And from what I was told, he was only on stage because Mustard bought him out when he did his segment. And then second of all, when did the essay started really dealing with the Negroes? Somebody from the West Coast tap in Now, as long as I've been knowing people that's from the West Coast, they always say that the SAs got their section, they got their places, their areas, and we don't go over there and they don't come over here. I'm not saying in particular. So if you got an SA friend, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying as a collective, I've always been told that they don't deal with blacks and blacks don't deal with them. So why all of a sudden everything becomes all inclusive? I'm confused. And then on top of that, he didn't even know when Juneteenth was or what it is. What it stands for. He's talking about a Tulsa massacre. And right after that, he goes into, but Mexicans have been persecuted on this soil too. Stop it. Stop it. A lot of people on the outside of the culture only wants to be in the culture when it benefits them. Period. When it's time for us to talk about reparations or anything that we need for our community, no other culture, no other race is standing beside us. None. But when it's a benefit like hip hop music and all these other things, now everybody wants to put their hands in the pot, and it's sick. It's ridiculous. And it's partially our fault. And the reason I say this is because Black Americans are the most giving people on the face of this earth. And we get nothing in return. Literally nothing. We invite everybody down to the cookout. We invite everybody down to the house. We braid everybody's hair. We cook for everybody. We get nothing on the other end. So now when these things like this happen, we have to look in the mirror as so-called Black Americans and say, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep allowing everybody to eat while we starve? Now, as far as this whole situation goes with this guy, I believe that he could have somebody in his ear telling him to do this crap. I don't know, to be fact, but it's still a conversation that we as a culture, as a people, our people, foundational Black Americans, African descendants of slaves, whatever we are today, Acorn, stand up. We need to have a conversation about this because we need to start rescinding some of these invites. Now, people on TikTok have things to say about it. Y'all, let's take a look and get into what they're saying.
Like, the Mexican people were underrepresented there last night.
I feel it. I can see that.
I can see that too, man, but...
And a lot of people are telling me that I sound like bitter or something, like I'm not a rapper.
You are bitter though. That's like us black people complaining about Bad Bunny not bringing any black rappers on the stage during Cinco de Mayo. Y'all have your own fucking day. What the fuck are we talking about? It was Juneteenth. He had even OGZ on that motherfucker and he not even black. All y'all motherfuckers want black people to include y'all in some shit. Y'all can't even include us in a damn thing. Y'all motherfuckers be getting reparations for shit because an overstimulated cop must have beat your ass and y'all got money for it. Not even just you, the victim. Yo ho, peoples that look like you. We can't even get reparations for building this country up. Y'all talking about underrepresented? Man, I don't give a fuck. I almost said something crazy on this motherfucker. Man, take the microphone from his bitch ass.
Shout out to the brother. He said what he said and he's standing on all 10 and I'm standing behind him. Let me say this, man. We don't owe nobody nothing. Black people, do y'all know that? We don't owe nobody nothing. I'm talking about nobody. We don't owe anybody of any culture, any race, any ethnicity, anything. In fact, we owe everything to ourselves. And we would give the clothes off our backs and go hungry to help everybody and ain't nobody gonna help us. It's just weird, bruh. Check out this other video of somebody else having something to say. It's crazy. Check it out.
California superstar OGZ was the only Mexican rapper to perform on stage out of 30 artists at the Kendrick Lamar pop-out show. Now, some people were saying what Kendrick Lamar did was history and was pretty big. Now, some other people were disagreeing. Now, some people were saying that Kendrick Lamar doesn't deserve the title of uniting Los Angeles, because the Mexican community was underrepresented at his pop-out show. Some people did bring up the fact that it was on the day of Juneteenth. Now, from my perspective, I feel like Kendrick Lamar should have added more Mexican rappers to the lineup. As you know, it can't be California or Los Angeles without Mexicans. But hey, these are just my thoughts and my opinions on the situation. But let me know how you guys feel down below. Do you guys feel like Kendrick Lamar does deserve the title of uniting Los Angeles? This for the fools, so make sure to like, comment, follow for more exclusive news or music.
All right, so you heard this guy, and once again, now they're saying Kendrick doesn't deserve the title of reuniting or uniting LA because the Mexicans weren't included, and this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And you know, it's funny that this person is saying that there is no LA without the Mexican representation, when the facts of the matter are, sir, you're not the original Mexicans. And just like Kendrick gave us a history lesson down in They Not Like Us, I'm about to give y'all a history lesson on Voodoo Doll TV. Check it out. So through a very quick Google search, I was able to pull up the following. Hernan Cortez. Soon after the Spanish colonization of Cuba in 1519, a small army led by Hernan Cortez, 1485 to 1547, conquered Mexico from the Aztecs. Cortez first attacked and then made allies of towns. Now, if you look at this photo, you see the conquistador, which is a conqueror in Spanish. This is a conquistador, and this is also a copper-colored indigenous Indian in the town of what is now Mexico, okay? Now, instead he came in and attacked, and then he started making allies out of towns. That's what they do. Integrate, then infiltrate. Malcolm X told us about that a long time ago, but this is what they do. So first and foremost, the Mexicans we see today are really the Spaniards, the conquistadors, because the actual Mexicans that are there don't look like these people. In fact, there are villages in small groups of Afro-Mexicans, if you want to call it, or Black Mexicans in Mexico, but they're not allowed to live amongst the people that are all up in front when you go on your vacations. There's a whole heap of Afro-Indigenous Mexicans who don't look like any of the Mexicans we see in California, in Mexico, or anywhere else. Those people are products of the Spaniards, okay? And these are facts. Just do a quick history, quick Google search, and you will find there are villages among villages among villages of so-called Black Mexicans who were really the indigenous people to that land before Hernan Cortez and his crew came in and messed with it. Now, some will say that's cap because, you know, we've always been here. We're native to the land and da-da-da-da. No, there are Olmec heads that show us different. Shout out to Ace from YouTube. He goes all over to different places to actually talk to the Afro-Indigenous people of all lands. And this in particular one was where he went to Mexico. And as you can see through the artwork on the walls, everything that you're seeing in this village is Afro, Black, Negro, or whatever y'all want to call it. Right? So there's communities upon communities of people that are Black like you and I that have been pushed to the side just so as the Mexicans we see today in America and also in Mexico when we go down to visit, those are the representation of the people that they want you to think are the real indigenous Mexicans, when the fact of the matter is that's the furthest from the truth. Check this out.
¿Tu familia en esa tierra por cuántos años? ¿100 años?
Los abuelos, los papás, los tatarabuelos.
So like really all her family, this is her island right here. ¿Y qué tienen aquí? ¿Qué está haciendo?
Nah. You've heard it from her mouth that her grandparents, their parents, and their parents, and their parents have always been on this land that we call Mexico. Now, as far as this LA, he can't unite LA without Mexicans, Exhibit A. Now, this photo you're looking at right here are basically early depictions of the so-called natives or the indigenous copper-colored people that they found when they came down to doggone California. And as you can see, these are not clear people. So these people were already indigenous to California as well. And there are a lot of tribes that they found when they went to California, and they are as follows: the Cholula, the Cocopa, the Hoopa, aka Hoopa, the Janino, the Karak, the Kato, the Kanko, Mohave, Miwok, Modoc, Pomo, Shoshone tribe, aka Shoshone, and the Wintu and the Wyatt. So as you can see, the indigenous people of California does not include the Mexican people that you see there today. Hold on, there's more. Now, if we move forward, we have the Ohlone or the Neophytes. Those were another group of indigenous copper-colored people who inhabited the landmass of California, or California as we know it. And when colonizers got there and they met the Ohlone or Neophytes, they basically tried to turn them into Christians. They set up missions all across the coast of San Diego, all the way down to Santa Rosa. And basically, they wanted these people to convert to Christianity. And as you can see, here are people gambling, king. And it's funny because the mannerisms and the way the people are standing and the way that people are hanging around is literally what so-called Black Americans do to this day. So I don't really want to hear about anybody having to be added to our culture to make it whole. Now my question is this, you guys. As it pertains to Kendrick Lamar, we don't need to be crowned, or we don't need him to be crowned by anybody but us. We crown our kings. We crown our queens. Nobody else. And the fact that us putting us first and prioritizing us has made the whole world jump over the moon is ridiculous. And it tells me that we need to start focusing more on us. We have people saying who's who, who's this, who's that from the outside of our culture who really doesn't get a say, because our culture is ours. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be negative, but the fact remains we cannot continue to give and get nothing in return and then be persecuted by the people we give everything to simply because they don't like something or the way something went and they weren't included. It's the sense of entitlement for me. And it's given Karen. And it's given all of these people have the same sort of like, oh, I belong. And if you don't add me, then you're wrong. And they all have that entitlement that really grinds my gears. So at what point as we as a community, and I mean so-called Black Americans, when are we going to take back our stuff? Even the Mexican rapper OGZ, I've seen his videos. He's cosplaying Negroes. All rappers are. UK rappers, Mexican rappers, all of them want to look and sound like us. Mannerisms, the way they speak, the way they dress, everything is to look like us. And I am so proud of Kendrick for having a day just for us, because Juneteenth, even though I don't celebrate it, is in fact a holiday strictly for Black American people. And I don't think that we should feel a way about others not being included on certain things. I don't feel that we should feel a way about people want to tell us who's the king of what when we decide the culture. We move the culture. We are the centers of everything. And we are the people who say Kendrick Lamar is the king of LA. Because the king of LA has always looked like Kendrick Lamar and myself and other Black Americans. What y'all think about this? Man, shout out to Kendrick. You did your big one. You got him real mad and impressed like a dog on panini. But that lets me know that we are moving in the right direction. My only advice to Black people is to prioritize self, to make sure that you are the one who decide your culture and do it unapologetically, no matter who gets mad. Anyway, what y'all think about this? Drop down in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for all posts and videos. Also, again, I know y'all gonna get my comments windmilling. I know y'all gonna feel some type of way because I'm not saying we're all the same and I'm not a Pan-Africanist. But I'm telling you now, I don't care. I don't care. You will not guilt me into giving you everything while we get nothing in return. Okay? Acorn, stand up. Okay? Nevertheless, yeah, I'll see y'all hoes later. Bye.
Kendrick Lamar was not disturbed on his hiatus to come out here and whip Drake's ass just for y'all to think that the they not like us and the us that he is talking about is anybody more than Black American people. Are y'all delusional? This has nothing to do with the whole America coming together against Canada. This is about niggas. Okay? The damn show was on Juneteenth. What more of not like us? We're the us. You are the they. What are y'all not understanding? Y'all are making whole think pieces and arguing in people's comments, trying to fight to be a part of the us when you are a part of the they. We wouldn't have to sing about a not like us if there was not a they. Let that man make our album and record our music video in peace. Shut up. Be quiet. We don't want to hear you. And as far as I'm concerned, it is Juneteenth year. So hush. As long as they not like us is playing outside, all of the they need to be quiet and let the us turn up. What's wrong with y'all?
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.